Step by Step is an early childhood development program that supports children from birth to age 10. It is based on child-centered teaching methods and promotes parent and community involvement. Step by Step is an initiative of the Open Society Institute, an organization created by the philanthropist George Soros. He believes that even the youngest members of society must learn in environments that promote democratic principles. In each country, programs are operated by independent, non-governmental organizations. A strong network evolved based on the exchange of knowledge and experience between countries. In 1999, the umbrella organization, ISSA, the International Step by Step Association, was formally established. ISSA provides technical support and vision for both new and well-established programs. The program reaches out to children everywhere, in big cities and remote villages, in mountain hamlets and desert towns. Each step-by-step program is adapted to meet local needs. Children with disabilities are stigmatized in many countries, including Ukraine, a former republic of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union created a system of separate boarding schools for children with physical and mental disabilities called internat. Parents often agreed to institutionalize their children with disabilities at a young age. Many of the children would be hidden in institutions for the rest of their lives, cut off from their families and from the rest of society.
Those kinds of institutions were like military prisons. When a child went to this kind of rehabilitation center, they would lose all personal attachment to their family and to the outside world. And education in these institutions was very limited.
We didn't see how much these children are losing from being separated from their peers. And not these children, but also their peers, healthy children, how much they are losing from just not seeing the other one.
Local reformers teamed with Step by Step to try to create a revolutionary new classroom, one where children with disabilities would mingle with the mainstream students.
It was 96, and it was very hard because it was really strong stereotype that these children have to be in the specialized settings, educational settings, because it's for benefits, for their benefits. But we started to do that, and we saw, how many parents who just didn't want to put their children in these boarding schools or internats. They were happy that they had possibility just to put their child close to the school, which was close to their home.
The results have been overwhelmingly positive. Teachers say that this is because of two things: extensive training for teachers and the fact that Step by Step is uniquely suited to the challenges of inclusion.
Before this, we were trying to include children with disabilities in our classes, but it was very hard. With the Step by Step program, it became so much easier to include these kids in our classes and in all our activities. The Step by Step program allows the children to work in activity centers and move around and be active in the class much more than in a regular classroom. And it is the environment that the teachers create in the Step by Step school that allows children with special needs to adapt socially much faster than in other schools. We also built a ramp in this school that allows children in wheelchairs to enter the classroom, which is hard in the regular schools.
For Ukrainians, this is a radical new way of looking at children with disabilities. Just a few years ago, seeing a child with a disability in a regular classroom was unimaginable. But children, parents, and teachers have been surprisingly willing to embrace the new way of doing things. This is Yaroslav. He has cerebral palsy and is confined to a wheelchair. Since last year, he has been attending this primary school in Kiev, and already it's making a difference in his life and the life of the school.
Before Yaroslav came here, we had a special workshop with the kids to tell them about him and his special needs. When he came to the class, children were very excited to see him and knew how to help him.
Yaroslav,
how do you like coming to this school?
I like it. I have many friends.
This is Natalia. She lives in Lvov, Ukraine. A year ago, she started in a step-by-step school, and her progress has been dramatic. Natalia has cerebral palsy, a disease that affects muscular control and coordination. Although the disease does not become worse, it seldom improves on its own. Only intensive therapy and a child's own motivation can improve the child's movement. At Step by Step, Natalia began to blossom.
I like most the center of activity called drawing.
What did you learn to do in your new school?
I basically learned to read and write and draw and English too. Natalia is becoming much more physically healthy because she is willing to do things. She is willing to come to school. She is willing to play with other children. And she has become much more comfortable socially. Natalia, when she first came, she was just waiting for someone to help her. And now in the class, she's trying to move on her own. She's trying to be responsible for herself. When I went to the previous school, it was very dull, and I hated it. But this school is very interesting. There are very different kinds of activities, and I like it, because we have very interesting tasks, and it makes me move around a lot. Also, I have very good friends who I am always with. Sometimes we get angry at each other, but usually we stay together. Her skills have really improved. Those papers you see on the table prove it. They show how she draws and how she can write. She has learned to control her body much better than she did before. We basically taught her to walk much better, and now she's on the way to learning to walk by herself. But Natalia is not willing to take their help all of the time. She likes to learn to do things on her own.
The rest of the children have reached out to Natalia, making her a part of their community.
The kids treat Natalia very well because they came from a step-by-step school. Before, in the kindergarten, they had seen children with disabilities and had interacted with them. The children really like Natalia. She's very kind and very friendly. They really care about who's going to help her.
Natalia's presence in the regular classroom has touched the lives of the other children, too.
The main problem we thought we would have to face would be the integration of typically developing children with learning disabilities or physical disabilities. In fact, what we've seen is that when children are so young, they are able to treat each other fairly, and they take it as it is, and they are able to tolerate differences naturally.
She has brought a feeling of respect and sensitivity to the other children. Children who would not be respectful to other people have accepted Natalia and her disabilities. She brings so much happiness just from the look she has when she enters the classroom in the morning. I think that children who study alongside children with disabilities see real life. It's not something that the schools or parents want to show them. They learn to help each other, and they learn to be aware and make choices on their own. Other kids also have their own problems. They can be too tall or too small. So in their classes, they come to understand that not all people are the same, and they learn to tolerate differences.
Under the old system, parents of children with disabilities were often isolated and fearful. Step by Step has brought tremendous relief to parents like Natalia's mother.
Her previous school was a special school, only for children in wheelchairs and retarded children. We wanted her to develop properly and to be given personal attention. And that's why we decided to go to Step by Step. When I came to this school, I talked to the director, and I explained my problems to her. She understood that I needed help. First, I went to every class with her, and I really enjoyed that. But after some time, Natalia prohibited me, because no other parents would come to every class with their children, and she wanted to be like all the other kids.
The Step by Step school sets up a special meeting each month to track Natalia's progress. At this meeting, Natalia's mother can talk to her teachers, her psychologist, her physical therapist, and the school principal. They evaluate Natalia's individual progress and make a plan for the future. Step by Step teachers, parents, and children are all willing to expand the program to include even more classrooms in the future.
From what we have seen from Natalia, she has brought tremendous new things to the social life of the school, to the advantage of not only Natalia herself, but also to the other kids of the school. As a result of that, we really want to take on other children with disabilities next year and in the following years.
Teachers feel that the Step by Step program is the best way to integrate children with special needs into ordinary classrooms.
Step by Step has a specially tailored program for the kids with disabilities that lets them progress better, which the regular schools don't have. The most important thing in the process is that the child with disabilities is able to feel himself needed and socially acceptable to the regular kids. A child can understand that he can be a part of the social environment and actually create some good things for the other people, draw, write, and sing with them.
The success of the program in schools like this in Kiev and Lvov has led the government to partner with Step by Step on a plan to expand this program into many more schools across the country.
Last year we have started the 7 years program together with the Ministry of Education of Ukraine and Institute of Special Pedagogy, and it will allow to include children with disabilities into 27 schools of Ukraine.
The real result will be when the kids that are right now studying with the kids with special needs grow up and become policymakers and architects and shape the world with their own hands. They are going to make this world acceptable for people like their classmates. The main result is that they will learn to ignore the differences, not only to see a person and treat them fairly, a person with special needs or has a disability, but also a person of different race or different culture. What we do now for the kids is just a start for the whole change.
Step by Step is an early childhood development program that supports children from birth to age 10. It is based on child-centered teaching methods and promotes parent and community involvement. Step by Step is an initiative of the Open Society Institute, an organization created by the philanthropist George Soros. He believes that even the youngest members of society must learn in environments that promote democratic principles. In each country, programs are operated by independent, non-governmental organizations. A strong network evolved based on the exchange of knowledge and experience between countries. In 1999, the umbrella organization, ISSA, the International Step by Step Association, was formally established. ISSA provides technical support and vision for both new and well-established programs. The program reaches out to children everywhere, in big cities and remote villages, in mountain hamlets and desert towns. Each step-by-step program is adapted to meet local needs. Haiti is an island nation of 9 million people, most of whom live in dire poverty. Daily life is a bleak struggle to provide for themselves and for their children, and to stave off disease and malnutrition. Outside the major cities, rural communities struggle for survival. Few roads or telephone lines reach the countryside, and for the most part, the rural people are cut off from the outside world. Here in these remote mountain villages, most adults cannot read or write their own language of Creole, and the vast majority do not know French, the language of Haiti's ruling class. When these adults were growing up, there were no schools for poor people in the countryside.
The majority of the parents here didn't have the opportunity to go to school even one day in their lives.
I didn't have much chance to go to school. I spent very little time in school. My mom and my dad, they didn't send me to school. I was lucky enough that I went where my aunt was working. My aunt was a maid, and the people she was working for, they liked me. So they sent me to school, but only for 2 or 3 years, so I didn't learn enough.
Most of Haiti's population is concentrated in these rural villages. But it is only in the past decade that the Haitian government has begun operating some schools in the villages. Too often, the state schools have brought only more desperation, not hope.
You see, it's a country where there is air, sun, light, tiny shacks, dark, no space.
There are a lot of students just sitting on the benches. There's the teacher who is in front of them and above them. He spends the day talking. In the traditional schools, we have the feeling that the teacher is teaching more for himself than for the children.
School in Haiti is a very authoritarian type of school, and it is not only school, but the whole Haitian society has a very authoritarian way of functioning. Besides the fact that we have had more than 30 years of dictatorship in Haiti, and people are used to obey and follow a leader without thinking of themselves.
There are some classrooms in these villages that don't fit the traditional mold. They have been transformed by step, or tipa-tipa as it is known in the local language of Creole. In these preschool and primary classrooms, the walls are decorated with colorful artwork made by the children. The focus of the classroom is on the children, not the teacher. Everywhere, children are doing things independently instead of just sitting in rows. The new program is creating a sensation among parents who have never known anything like it.
I love this program very much. The reason I love it so much is because of the way it's changing the kids. They're not afraid of people anymore. If it were possible, I would have all my children in the step-by-step program. Unfortunately, I cannot. Where my other kids go to school, I think the education is so-so. But in the step-by-step program, everything is done differently. I find that the step-by-step kids are more developed than the other kids. I like the way they involve the parents in the school, too.
When the step-by-step program arrived in the villages, teachers reached out to parents to help the program in any way they could. Together, they decided to put first things first and make sure that the children were not coming to class hungry. After all, a hungry child has a hard time concentrating on anything other than his empty stomach.
In, I would say, 80% of the sites where we started, they didn't have any meal. The kids used to faint in the classrooms. And the parents have been helpful there, being the cooks in many places.
Schools that cannot afford to pay people for the food, for preparing food, they invite the parents, and parents come and cook for the kids without being paid. In some places, we've had parents also growing vegetable gardens, and the vegetables that come out of these gardens go to the schools.
What I do at the school is help them grow things, because that's what I do in life. And sometimes, when there's a water problem, I carry water for the school also.
I work in the school garden because I want the kids to have vegetables to eat.
Besides helping with essential tasks like gathering food and cooking, parents participate in educational activities and parent meetings. Parents even helped to build new school buildings with more light and space. Coming to the school was a radical step for most Haitian parents.
I would say that probably the biggest challenge was to involve the parents, because traditionally schools here don't let the parents in the schools. They have to stay out. And school is really separated from family life and the rest of society.
The parents really appreciate what is being done. They really appreciate the progress, and that's why they get themselves so involved.
I am very involved with Sarah's activities in school. The thing I like most is that they let me take part. They let me know what she's doing, what she's learning. Children of the step-by-step program are more developed than the others. As a parent, when you get into the class to see the children singing, or talking, or working, it's a real joy the way they feel the freedom.
Once parents started coming to school regularly, they discovered that they themselves wanted a second chance at going to school.
I would say perhaps 90 to 95% of the parents are illiterate. And there's been a strong demand for literacy programs, which we have started. Somehow the parents want to be able to learn how to read and write. Practically at the same time, the children are learning how to read and write.
Walking into a step-by-step classroom in Haiti, one is struck by the incredible energy and the many talents of the teacher. Teachers are called upon to create a rich environment with many different learning corners.
In each corner, there are materials that the children can find to play with, and that can help the child develop his intelligence. This is the space where they have the names of all the corners, all the 6 learning corners. They come and choose their name, and then they put the little slip with their name in the corner that they want to go to.
For example, in the household corner, children have fun playing at different family roles. The teacher sets the tone for each corner.
The reason that I think this program is very important for Haiti is, first of all, the way we used to raise girls and boys was very different. The girls usually do all the work in the house, and the boys are often free to play and to do whatever they want to do. But in this program, we teach boys and girls to do all kinds of work. They both clean the dishes. We have a corner in the class that's called the house corner, and the boys can also go in that corner and make the bed and feed the baby.
Teacher training was crucial for step-by-step, because its methodology is completely different from the traditional Haitian methods. For example, in the old system, primary school teachers, often with barely a second-grade education, stood in front of rows of children, lecturing. Repetition and memorization were the main tools of the trade. Teachers from the old system would have to completely relearn their profession to teach it step by step. Step-by-Step founders identified a need for a massive teacher training system and set to work. They had to retrain teachers in both their basic subjects and the step-by-step philosophy.
We had to give them more training in contents, in math, in social science, in art, language development, French, besides training for the step-by-step approach specifically.
When I came here, they were thinking of starting a Tipa program at the school. They offered me the chance to go to Port-au-Prince to have some training sessions. And I went there, and I liked it. And I really enjoyed working in the Tipa program. Now I can really help children. I can help them learn with joy.
In Haiti, disabled children and adults are often shunted aside and kept out of mainstream society. A rare exception is the step-by-step classroom, where children who might not otherwise be educated have the right to sit next to the other boys and girls.
Children with disabilities, it's a big issue. You know, usually kids are laughed at or they are ostracized. And what happens very often, that whenever the parents feel that the kids are ostracized, they don't send them to school anymore. And the kids themselves don't want to go anymore.
This is Ernso, a boy with a serious hearing disability. Like most children with disabilities in Haiti, he grew up hiding from the world.
When I first met Ernso, he didn't know how to speak at all. At his house, they used to call him bébé, the word for mute here in Haiti.
We used to see Ernso around, and we used to see that he was a really nice kid, but with a handicap, and we realized that his parents didn't have the opportunity to send him to school.
One day, a step-by-step teacher invited Ernso into the school. Step-by-Step helped to raise money for hearing aids for Ernso, and the teachers taught him how to say some words. Now he follows along in class and enjoys playing with the other kids at recess.
Before the school, Ernso didn't do anything much, really. He likes the garden. He was afraid of people. He was alone all the time. Before, he was an abandoned child. Nobody was speaking to him. Now he plays with the other kids, and he really likes that. He realizes that he's not different. He's a kid, like all the others. He's very developed now. He's very happy. He wasn't like that. He's changing every day. Maybe the future will bring something good for him.
Ernso's story is just one example of how the program is teaching Haitian children to live together in a new democracy, where every person will take part.
This is the most important contribution of the step-by-step program. It's teaching young kids to make choice, to think by their own, by themselves, and this is very new in Haiti. Traditionally, they have no opinion about what's going on in school. They have to memorize and obey the teachers. While in the step-by-step classroom, we expect them to not memorize, but to experiment and to have opinion on what is going on in their classrooms.
This program is very important because it does not exclude anyone. It includes everybody. The parents, the teachers, the kids, everybody's a part of it.
In a country where a quarter of school-aged children do not even go to school, and where dire poverty often overshadows everything else, the challenges that Step-by-Step faces are profound. And yet, for more than 6,000 children and their parents, Step-by-Step is bringing hope that the future will be different.
Why is this program important to us in Haiti? It's because we are building democracy. It starts at the earliest age. And in a country in such a devastating situation, it's important to look at the future and know that the kids we are training now, who are 3, 5, 6, 8, will be the adults in 20 years.
I hope my kids will learn and become something tomorrow. because they don't have any father, and I'm the only one taking care of them and giving them the best that I can. Education is very important because once it's in your head, nobody can take it away.
Step by Step is an early childhood development program that supports children from birth to age 10. It is based on child-centered teaching methods and promotes parent and community involvement. Step by Step is an initiative of the Open Society Institute, an organization created by the philanthropist George Soros. He believes that even the youngest members of society must learn in environments that promote democratic principles. In each country, programs are operated by independent, non-governmental organizations. A strong network evolved based on the exchange of knowledge and experience between countries. In 1999, the umbrella organization, ISSA, the International Step by Step Association, was formally established. ISSA provides technical support and vision for both new and well-established programs. The program reaches out to children everywhere, in big cities and remote villages, in mountain hamlets and desert towns. Each step-by-step program is adapted to meet local needs. In 1996, the step-by-step program was introduced in Kazakhstan, a country that had recently become independent after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Kazakh education faced a crisis in the late 90s when the national economy faltered and the government had to start closing down preschools because it simply could not afford to run them.
Since 1991, out of 45 kindergartens in this area, only 2 survived. Among these 2 is our kindergarten.
Step by Step intervened by organizing parents and creating partnerships with local communities and NGOs that would allow as many schools as possible to survive.
After the economic collapse in 1999, the situation became really difficult, and the parents decided to set up a parents' committee. They had to make a difficult decision to collect money to cover the expenses for feeding children, for the utilities that power the school. They received some support under the Step by Step program from the Soros Foundation. Thanks to this support, thanks to the efforts of our parents, this kindergarten managed to survive.
I think that it was the time when our country and especially education system and kindergartens, they need help. We supported many poor, very poor preschools, and they didn't close. It was great time and happy time that Step by Step came to Kazakhstan.
Parents saw a need for a new kind of education that would be better suited to helping their children grow up to be democratic citizens. They immediately saw that Step by Step gave them the kind of education that would make them responsible and civic-minded adults.
I like this school very much, and when I got familiar with the Step by Step program, I discovered that it has much in common with our national Kazakh family traditions of educating and bringing up children. We used to be nomads, and we love freedom very much. Our land is vast, and everybody feels free here. Now, our children will grow up to feel freedom as well.
These children are taught to openly express their thoughts and ideas. They will be the first independent generation in a newly independent country.
Rather than trying to foist a system from outside onto local schools, principals and teachers got together with parents and community leaders to develop step by step.
When we joined the program in 1996, all grades in this kindergarten were Kazakh children. The program is like a framework, which we fill in with national content.
In a society where family and community are all important, bringing the local culture into the classroom was a very welcome change.
My son is attending this kindergarten, where they train children under the step-by-step program the first year. This program is very much in line with our traditional, national, family ways of bringing up children. Our children develop to be more free in everything they do. It contributes to their language skills and to the development of speech habits. Since our country gained its independence, there were really very many changes. And one of them is that the country started to focus on local traditions, on learning the Kazakh language. The kindergarten became kind of the cultural center in this community, and all kinds of parties and local celebrations and meetings are being conducted in this place.
Under the Soviet system, the language of instruction was Russian. Local customs and traditions were not a big part of the school curriculum. Step by Step sought to change this by introducing Kazakh language kindergartens and encouraging teachers and parents to keep Kazakh culture alive by passing it on to children in the classroom.
For many, many years, my people kept forgetting their language. Now we want to revive the language. We want every Kazakh to know his mother tongue. We want to keep our traditions and customs alive.
Thanks to support from parents and NGOs, the program thrived and then embarked on a new project to spread step-by-step classrooms across a nation that covers 2.7 million square kilometers, an area roughly equal to the size of Western Europe. Step by Step developed a coordinated system of standardized training and model classrooms throughout Kazakhstan. More than 12 training centers at preschools and primary schools were established, so that even people in the most remote parts of the country could learn the step-by-step methodology.
These regional training centers were supplied with all materials, educational materials, with all equipment. They need Xerox, computer, printers, and many, many other things. Developing books for children and for the teachers, pedagogical books. They can conduct trainings, workshops themselves in their training centers. In this way, we were successful because of great support of USAID. They helped us to supply with all this equipment necessary for regional training centers. The second success in this direction was because of great support from the Ministry of Education.
By partnering with the Ministry of Education, Step by Step was able to become part of many standard teacher training courses in Kazakhstan.
There are 18 universities who work with us, who implement new special course, step-by-step course in their universities. We work with 11 teachers retraining institute in Kazakhstan. We think that this great network that we develop in Kazakhstan, it will be helpful in educating new people, new generation. They have new vision, they have new mission.
In addition to teacher training institutes, Step by Step operates model classrooms where teachers learn by observing master teachers at work.
There are lots of model classes now, both in preschools and primary schools. Training for teachers is actually conducted on the basis of these model classes.
Step by Step has also partnered with organizations like USAID and UNICEF to help expand the program to more and more children throughout the vast expanse of the countryside.
This is exactly how the Step by Step program fits in our strategy, because the Step by Step program aimed at developing the young generation that can think critically, that can act proactively, that can be creative, think independently, no matter what the teacher may tell you. And in addition to that, we pay great attention to involving communities and citizens to solving different problems or projects. It involves parents into the education process, and this is great, because this is exactly when education process may be sustainable, because parents themselves do a lot so that their children could have the best education they could.
The program is targeted on rural areas, as I mentioned before, and Step by Step is providing techniques, and we are buying interactive materials in collaboration with Step by Step program and trying to supply the schools and set up the environment for teachers to work in the conditions and use their skills, which are developed during the trainings run by the Step by Step program.
Because Kazakhstan has been so successful in implementing the program, Step by Step is now using this country as a base for expansion into the rest of Central Asia. The staff in Kazakhstan currently serve as mentors to the organizers of a new Step by Step program in Tajikistan.
After the events that have taken place in Tajikistan, Tajikistan is trying to build a civil society, and education is one of their priorities. When we got familiar with this program, we understood that new educational approaches are being applied in this program, and this is encouraging more democratic principles to be used in education. This methodology is child-oriented, and we became very interested in implementing this program in Tajikistan.
Before we came here to Tajikistan, they enacted a new law on education, and this law was drafted by the Ministry of Education. While drafting the law, the experts investigated new educational technologies, and they got familiar with the Step by Step program. The ministry approved the Step by Step program before sending us here for training. They already decided that this program should be implemented in Tajikistan.
This year, more than 23,000 Kazakh children will have the opportunity to attend a step-by-step preschool or primary school. Step by Step is beloved by parents, children, teachers, and communities, and the program is producing good educational results. Throughout Kazakhstan, the children who attend Step by Step have a reputation for excellence.
First of all, I should say that children from this kindergarten display very high proficiency in general when they go on to primary school. They are known all over the city for their high proficiency. They have a lot more learning skills by the time they enter primary school. Lots of parents want their children to attend this very preschool because they know that here they achieve more than in any ordinary classroom. That's why this place is never empty. We have no vacancies.
Step by Step is an early childhood development program that supports children from birth to age 10. It is based on child-centered teaching methods and promotes parent and community involvement. Step by Step is an initiative of the Open Society Institute, an organization created by the philanthropist George Soros. He believes that even the youngest members of society must learn in environments that promote democratic principles. In each country, programs are operated by independent, non-governmental organizations. A strong network evolved based on the exchange of knowledge and experience between countries. In 1999, the umbrella organization, ISSA, the International Step-by-Step Association, was formally established. ISSA provides technical support and vision for both new and well-established programs. The program reaches out to children everywhere, in big cities and remote villages, in mountain hamlets and desert towns. Each step-by-step program is adapted to meet local needs. In rural Mongolia, life continues today much as it has for generations. About half of the country's 2.3 million people live a nomadic life, moving from place to place with their herds of livestock. When they move, their homes move with them, large white tents known as ger. Multicultural education is an important part of Step by Step's mission in the western part of the country, where a small group of Kazakhs make their home within Mongolia. In these western villages, on any given morning, Kazakh children are waking up to a new school day. Elsewhere in the same village, Mongolian children are getting ready for school too. These two ethnic groups will come together in the Step by Step classroom, a place where every child is treated the same and both cultures are valued equally. At Step by Step, children are encouraged to learn from each other's cultures.
So in these classrooms that Kazakh and Mongolian people learn together and then play together.
It makes no difference if it's a Kazakh child or a Mongolian child. The purpose of our kindergarten is to have a multicultural classroom. In my class, I have 35 children. 15 of them are Kazakh, and the rest are Mongolian. The difficulty at first was that the Kazakh children didn't know how to speak Mongolian. So here at this preschool, we are the only means for the Kazakh children to learn how to speak Mongolian. We aim to teach them the Mongolian language in preschool so that they'll have an easier time when they go to elementary school. Moreover, some of the Kazakh children grew up in the countryside with their grandparents, and the grandparents didn't know how to speak Mongolian. So we also had to teach the grandparents.
By bringing these two cultures together, new learning opportunities are created. Step-by-step teachers draw from both cultures to enrich the curriculum.
So the kids in the classroom learn about parts of the gears and how to build it and how different is the Mongolian gear from the Kazakh gears.
This is a cow, and this is a cow carriage. Next to it is a horse carriage.
Besides learning about one another's culture in the classroom, students take field trips to learn about it firsthand.
The purpose of the activity was to show the Mongolian children the Kazakh way of life and to show the difference between the Kazakh ger and the Mongolian ger. What is the difference between the decorations, traditions, and the culture? We show the children that the Kazakh people have a unique way of making things by hand. For example, the tapestries that they make and the carpets.
So the kids in these multicultural classes much more learn from each other, from each other's culture.
A major challenge for Step by Step in Mongolia was changing parents' ideas about their relationship to the preschool. In the old system, parents stayed out of the classroom, but Step by Step brings the family into the school.
At first, before the program, parents would just drop their kids off at the kindergarten and pick them up in the evening.
Traditional approach of the parents to the kindergarten was that they think that the kindergarten is just a place to keep their children when they're at their work.
After organizing several seminars and lectures, the parents understood the purpose of this program and how helpful it can be to their children. When they come home, the children have done so many things, and they talk with their parents about what they have done, and they're so very proud. My son has an older brother who went to the traditional kindergarten. And from what I can see, the step-by-step program has a lot better teaching methods, which I can see by the difference in my younger son, who seems to have a lot of new ideas from step-by-step. He can think for himself and make his own decisions.
And they share with their experiences, and then even that the parents come into the classrooms and reading there some book and trying to help them with the learning the writing or doing something else, like even like in the kitchen or in like the hairdresser, etc.
The parents in our community came to the classroom and made some toys and even tried to teach a few times. And they spread the word about the teachers and how good they were, and more parents came, and more support came with that.
Step-by-step parents come to the classroom for many reasons. They come to play, to teach, to help out with special activities, to observe, and to make things for the classroom, often from recycled materials.
I try to do my best to help this kindergarten whenever possible. We use some kind of recyclable materials, usable waste materials. For example, if we want to teach our children how to play checkers, we use the cap of a Pepsi bottle to make checkers. I made this toy, and I used some other recycled materials to make a flower vase. The parents themselves come and ask if they can organize competitions or do some activities with the children.
By coming to the school, the parents continue their own education. They attend special workshops to learn how they can support their child's development. At regular parent meetings, they work together as a community to address classroom needs.
We usually talk about how the children are doing and what kinds of things they've made, what kind of new ideas they've been learning, and what kind of activities we should have in the future.
So the parents are more actively being involved into the classrooms, and they become the more responsible for their child's education.
The step-by-step program is remarkable for its ability to adapt to local conditions, as it did in this village outside of Ulaanbaatar, where the preschool is housed in a donated ger. This village used to be a collective farm, but when the farm was privatized, the new owner took away the building that had been used for a preschool.
This ger belongs to me and to my husband. And to start a preschool, my husband and I decided to donate this ger. And right next to this preschool ger, we have our own ger. We live in it. Last year we didn't have this ger, and now with the help of this teacher, we have one ger for our preschool. My profession is preschool teacher, and I just thought that here we just have to have a kindergarten, because I think the children of our herders and farmers, they need to be educated as well.
Another goal of Step-by-Step is to use local industry to furnish classroom materials. This teacher in Ulaanbaatar saw some blocks that she wanted in an American catalog, but rather than pay American prices, she decided that she could make them right here in Mongolia. With a grant from
I and my colleague, who's a carpenter, we both just talked, and we came up with this idea.
The wood material is not so expensive in the market, so the kindergarten, when you receive the grant, using that grant money, they just started to produce that blocks. It's so easy. They're just using that small room in the kindergarten building. If they want, they can actually just to paint, to make some different colors, etc. So teachers also, they help.
At first, one kindergarten ordered the wooden blocks. And if you look today, there's a total of 41 kindergartens that are using our learning materials. This set is made for ages 1 to 7, and everyone can play with it. We use the profits to decorate the kindergarten, to make some repairs, to fix up the classrooms, and also for making more materials and donating them to some of the other kindergartens.
Step by Step has changed the way many Mongolians think about preschool. Here in Mongolia, the Step by Step classroom represents a new breed of school, a place where multicultural education is valued, where parents are welcome. At the same time, Step by Step has adapted to the local conditions and tapped into the strengths of each community. It's no surprise that the program is thriving in Mongolia. Step by Step is an early childhood development program that supports children from birth to age 10. It is based on child-centered teaching methods and promotes parent and community involvement. Step by Step is an initiative of the Open Society Institute, an organization created by the philanthropist George Soros. He believes that even the youngest members of society must learn in environments that promote democratic principles. In each country, programs are operated by independent, non-governmental organizations. A strong network evolved based on the exchange of knowledge and experience between countries. In 1999, the umbrella organization, ISSA, the International Step by Step Association, was formally established. ISSA provides technical support and vision for both new and well-established programs. The program reaches out to children everywhere, in big cities and remote villages, in mountain hamlets and desert towns. Each step-by-step program is adapted to meet local needs. In Latvia, a former republic of the Soviet Union, Step by Step has dramatically changed the nature of early childhood education. Under the traditional system, independent thinking and creativity were discouraged. But today in Latvia, there is Step by Step, an educational program serving more than 14,000 children a year that fosters democracy from the roots up. In the new classrooms, even infants and toddlers are encouraged to explore their classroom with some measure of independence. Now, teachers get down on the floor with children to listen to them and approach them at their own level. Children are encouraged to make choices that shape their own day.
The step-by-step program gives children the opportunity of choice. The child comes here and can choose what to do. And the choices children make are different because children are different. Children like to be independent. They like to explore. They love working in the art center. Today's topic was a snowstorm, and they got glue, and they got white dots, and they made a snowstorm. They absolutely love it.
The step-by-step day has a structured morning, but even within that structure, children get to make some choices about their own learning.
Activity centers mean a possibility of choice. The child comes and the child can choose for himself or herself what to do. The child can choose books. Or they might prefer to go to the building block center.
The book center is one of the well-loved corners of the step-by-step classroom. In the book center, children learn to love and respect books. They are laying the groundwork for the day when they will begin to read the books themselves.
They really show high self-esteem when they know how to handle books. And they're happy when they recognize different items in the books. For example, today, this little boy, Yakos, when he looked through the book and saw different animals, and he recognized the animals he has at home, he was very happy. Actually, this early exposure to books helps children learn to read faster. We also make books ourselves, like this one, for example, with the primary colors and with different accessories.
The colorful classroom is decorated with the children's own handiwork, along with decorations and toys made by teachers and parents. It is a place designed with the child in mind, so that the child will feel at the center of the action. And it's a place where children love to be.
The children love coming to our classroom, and the children meet people who love them when they come, because they come with a smile, and they see a welcoming smile from us. A smile meets a smile. The parents also appreciate it, and they say, "Oh, it's so beautiful here, and you've done so many good things." She likes this school very much. As you can see, she doesn't even want to go home. When we have holidays or when we have a day off here, he asks, "Now when shall we go to school?"
In the primary grades, the emphasis on child-centered learning continues. Instead of setting up long rows of desks and centering attention on the teacher at the front of the classroom, Step by Step arranges desks in small circles where children can work together, guided by their teacher. Just like the preschoolers, the older children are encouraged to learn independently, to make choices, and to learn by doing.
If they prefer to do art, they can do art. Or if they're mathematically minded, they can choose something with math. While in a regular classroom in Latvia, they would have all the children doing the same thing at the same time.
Children make choices, but they ultimately cover the entire curriculum, just like in ordinary classrooms. Step by Step ensures that, within this framework of choice, all children learn all subjects. Under the old Soviet system, parents were kept out of the classroom. Step by Step is changing the old ideas. Now parents are coming to the school and joining in the happy atmosphere. They give high marks to this new kind of school.
In this type of classroom, compared to the traditional one, children feel like they are free. They are free to express their ideas. I think the teachers really pay more attention to the children. They work with the children more actively. When my son went to that previous school, it didn't make any difference. But now I can see a difference every single day. He comes back home with something new. He has learned something new. I think it's wonderful to have this program in Latvia, because after all the years of Soviet rule here, I can remember from my own experiences. I didn't feel confident at all in school. When I compare the children of today, they are so open and confident, thanks to this program.
Parents themselves have been educated by Step by Step. They are learning how to be better parents and new ways of thinking about child development.
Back then, when we were children, the attitude toward children was completely different, and the attitude toward education in general was completely different. Now, in these times, a child is perceived as something unique, as a personality. And actually, in this school, they are also educating parents. They are teaching us a different attitude toward children.
Parents feel welcome in the school and enjoy giving back to the school. They attend parent meetings, help to set up activity centers, and do other jobs.
If we speak about the old system, the parents were separated from the classroom activities. Now, with Step by Step, I can come in any day I want, and I can get involved in classroom activities. We come and help. For example, at Christmas we make decorations.
Parent support for Step by Step has helped the program to expand and include even more children. The goal is for parents, teachers, and children to all become part of the Step by Step team.
One of the features of Step by Step is communication. There must be communication between the parents, teachers, and child, because the parents are the first educators of their child. Something I really like is that we work as a team. Teachers, parents, and children, we are all one team. And the children like it here. They come through the corridor, smiling, and say good morning. In the evening, they don't want to go home. We want to say thank you to the parents who help us a lot in many different ways.
Perhaps the most valuable contribution of Step by Step is the way it brings children of different backgrounds together.
There are quite a lot of children who come from Russian-speaking families. This year there are 37 of them, but they pick up Latvian very quickly. At home they speak Russian, here they speak Latvian. There are even some cases when a 3-year-old serves as an interpreter for the mommy.
The goal is for all children to feel welcomed as equals. Children with special needs participate in the classroom, something that rarely happened in former times. And Step by Step gently teaches children of all backgrounds to live in harmony with one another.
The family backgrounds of the children in our classroom are very different. They range from poor to quite rich. But when the children come into class, they are all very similar. Starting to educate children from an early age can help to eliminate social inequalities. The child is put in a friendly atmosphere, in a creative atmosphere, and is treated well, just like any other child. One thing that is good about this program is that it gives children the ability to understand each other better. They have more empathy than the children used to have. We have one rule, and that is friendship. So this is the principle of the relationships in our classroom. The children are very friendly to each other. We show the sign, and it means friendship. When we show the sign, it means to be friendly. In family, at home, and everywhere. Friendship.
Step by Step is an early childhood development program that supports children from birth to age 10. It is based on child-centered teaching methods and promotes parent and community involvement. Step by Step is an initiative of the Open Society Institute, an organization created by the philanthropist George Soros. He believes that even the youngest members of society must learn in environments that promote democratic principles. In each country, programs are operated by independent, non-governmental organizations. A strong network evolved based on the exchange of knowledge and experience between countries. In 1999, the umbrella organization, ISSA, the International Step by Step Association, was formally established. ISSA provides technical support and vision for both new and well-established programs. The program reaches out to children everywhere, in big cities and remote villages, in mountain hamlets and desert towns. Each step-by-step program is adapted to meet local needs. The step-by-step program in Moldova began as a reform of the traditional teacher-centered system of early childhood education. Parents immediately saw the benefits of the program. But as their children reached the end of their kindergarten years, parents became concerned that they would now be passed into a traditional school and forget what they had learned in their step-by-step classrooms. At the preschool level, Step by Step's most striking feature is its child-centered environment. When Moldovan organizers brought Step by Step to the primary level, they faced the challenge of changing the traditional primary classroom into a child-centered place. The traditional classroom, like this one, was teacher-centered, with children sitting in rows and the teacher at the front of the room. In contrast, Step by Step used a flexible room arrangement to encourage teamwork in class. Children would now sit in small groups or large groups, always in circles. At the same time, the teachers started to decorate the halls and the classes with the students' artwork. The children who came from traditional schools saw a huge difference.
This year our classroom looks different. In my old school, it was uglier. There were fewer drawings. We didn't have all these things on the walls that make it nice. The desks were put in rows. They also didn't have the books that we have here.
We like the room arrangement the way it is now, the desks being put together so we can work in groups, because that way we are not alone. We work together. When we work together, we listen to each other and we find which opinion is best, and we write down this opinion.
Is your school different from the other schools?
I think it's more friendlier. They make it more fun. We can study in groups.
The step-by-step primary classroom is structured around learning centers, corners of the classroom devoted to math, science, reading. These corners are decorated to attract and encourage students to come in and learn on their own. As a result of this new freedom, children in the step-by-step program have taken the initiative to create their own books, paintings, and other artwork, and they also share this with other children.
I wrote a book about spring. I have some poems here, and this is a drawing of a frog. I wrote some riddles here and illustrated them.
Another striking feature of Step by Step in the primary grades is the use of thematic units. Instead of dividing up the curriculum into discrete subjects, teachers created thematic units that would explore a variety of school subjects through one theme. For example, in this classroom, the class engaged with the theme of jobs and responsibilities. First, they chronicled their own responsibilities in the classroom. Then they surveyed everyone working in the school about their jobs. Finally, they looked at what kind of work people are doing all across Moldova. Students were encouraged to not just learn from the teacher, but to learn from each other and to discover things on their own.
I want to fall in the world. word what we don't really understand, and we can find it.
They were quite independent learners. They went to the resources they had in the classroom, and they consulted various dictionaries. So they solved the problem quite independently, and they helped each other.
After small group learning, teachers often bring the entire class together to review what each small group has learned. This way, the teacher can ensure that common knowledge is acquired by all the children in the classroom. To accomplish the transformation of the primary classroom, Step by Step organized and implemented extensive teacher training programs. Teachers had to learn a whole new way of communicating with their students because Step by Step relies on give and take with students instead of lecturing.
To make this program viable, it's very important to make the teachers change their attitudes, to have a new perspective on students, and to change their whole mentality. I have become much more patient with children, much more understanding. I'm trying to really listen to them. I have also become much more sure of myself. I'm not afraid of expressing my own opinions.
The teacher in the step-by-step classroom is no longer the authority, the distant authority who is somewhere above the students. She is physically at the same level with the students, interacting with them at their level.
Teachers enjoyed coming to the training sessions. Many of them felt a new excitement about their profession.
During the traditional training of the teachers were just sitting at the desk and writing what they were told. In our program, the teachers enjoy coming to the seminars. Some of the teachers come from the rural areas, on bad days, in bad weather, just because it's a pleasure for them, and they are eager to attend these trainings.
Parents and the entire community take part in what is happening at the local step-by-step school. This is not an accident. Teachers work hard to bring parents to the school and to engage them with their children's education. For instance, this parent meeting involves an interactive exercise that gives parents a new perspective on their children.
This is the portrait of my son. He drew himself the way he sees himself. And also, he wrote down a few characteristics and qualities that he thinks he possesses. What I had to do was add a few elements to the drawing, and also a few other characteristics that I thought were specific to my son.
Parents come to appreciate the school and are inspired to join the active parents associations that work hard to help the school and the community.
This Parents Association is involved in all the activities now. We have a special fund to finance the activities of this school.
After its initial success in primary schools, Step by Step reached out to another organization, the Social Investment Fund, a World Bank program, and created a partnership. The Social Investment Fund agreed to finance some school construction and to purchase furniture and materials, while Step by Step would focus on what takes place inside the classroom.
Moldova Social Investment Fund support as a community to rehabilitate a building for the schools and support the procurement of furniture and of some didactic materials for step-by-step classes.
This village was one of the beneficiaries of this partnership. The Social Investment Fund rebuilt the school and step by step completely retrained the teachers and revamped the curriculum. One critical part of this program is that the community must collectively decide to participate and then raise money themselves to support these changes.
Before the project, the whole school was in a disastrous condition. It's been 3 years since the community got together and decided that renovating the school was their #1 priority. And since then, we've had a very happy time implementing the project. The community even contributed 15% of the whole cost.
Nowhere is this change more important than in the rural heartland of Moldova, the part of the nation that has been hit hardest by the economic downturn. This is where Step by Step has chosen to concentrate its resources with 85% of children who are served coming from rural areas.
Behind me is Merin village, quite a typical village for the central part of Moldova. The main focus of step-by-step program in Moldova is on the rural areas, since that's where the majority of the population lives, Moldova being a predominantly agrarian country.
In many cases, the children in the villages are deprived of the possibility of accessing the same information as the children in the city. We can't blame the children for the poorer performance they have in comparison to the city children. I think that through this program, we can really give the children in rural areas a chance to develop fully. I'm sure that if they grow up feeling free and independent in expressing their opinions, they will develop more fully as human beings. This is the chance for them not to be inferior to the children in the city.
Today in Moldova, 16% of all primary school students are enrolled in Step by Step, where they are being educated for life as democratic citizens. Parents can see the difference that Step by Step makes in encouraging independent thinking and problem solving.
I can compare the step-by-step program with a traditional program because my other son attended a regular school. The only things he was interacting with were his textbook and his notebook, and he was only listening to what the teacher was saying. Here in Step by Step, the child comes, and he is actively involved in the classroom activities. He is being asked his opinion about things and being challenged. I see how he is being pushed to think and to come up with arguments. The difference is huge.
Parents and teachers say that the program is critical in a country that is making the precarious transition from an authoritarian government to a democracy.
We need people to know how to change things. Look at our country. We are now in the 10th or 11th year of change, but things are not changing the way we would like. That's because we are not used to thinking independently, to acting independently. We're used to being told what to do. The old educational system cared only about a big volume of academic knowledge and wasn't encouraging a proactive spirit. Now we are trying through these new educational programs like Step by Step to encourage critical thinking and problem-solving skills.
Children who are brought up in a democracy as free personalities will never walk back into a totalitarian regime. Because when they taste freedom, when they experience being a person who can choose, who can realize and fulfill themselves, they experience the success of change.